Babylon is a movie about the behind the scenes of Hollywood in the late 1920s and early 1930s, right when sound was just being introduced and incorporated into motion picture. It shows all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into making a film, but it also shows how cutthroat and ruthless the industry can be. We saw this with Nellie Leroy, the young and up-and-coming actress, and Jack Conrad, the established big name in Hollywood, being tossed aside to a changing time. But this is only one aspect of the dark realities of this industry. Alcoholism, drug use, depression, anxiety, bad money habits, and even, in this case, death. Towards the end of the movie, this nearly hangs over all the characters. These are truly the darkest aspects of Hollywood. One of the most powerful scenes towards the end of Babylon is Jack Conrad's suicide. The tension is established in the previous scene with Jack reflecting on his career with an old friend, concluding with "it was good while it lasted" and "I'm tired." The camera then follows him all the way up to his room. The tension continues to build as there are no cuts at all, making it all one shot for the suspense. As Jack enters his room, the camera remains outside, only peering through the crack of the door, almost as if we, the audience, are only getting an outsider's perspective of the situation. Plus, with the tight shot between the crack of the door, gives us a sense of discomfort before sadly Jack takes his own life. Babylon does an amazing job illustrating these very dark tones, especially with Nellie Leroy. Throughout the entire movie, whether it's heavy drug use or owing money to some very sick individuals who enjoy watching rats being eaten alive as a form of entertainment. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that one, so we're just gonna move on. Nellie's actions, though, come back to haunt her after Manny tries to pull a fast one on James McKay. Both of them are forced to leave town, but before they even get the chance, one of James' goons intercepts Manny and kills everyone around him, sparing his life for some reason, allowing him to leave LA, but in the confusion, he loses Nellie, forcing him to leave without her, only to find out slightly later in a newspaper clipping that Nellie died at the age of 34. But we also figure out at the very end of the movie that she faked her own death. This is definitely my major criticism of the ending. For a movie that has a runtime of over 3 hours and is so meticulous, I can't imagine how they missed such a major detail and allow this to happen off screen. Of course, if they included a scene that explains what happened to Nellie, then they would probably have to make some cuts elsewhere, which in my opinion could have easily been possible, and it should have been necessary. Like, how does she even fake her own death? Why did she even leave Manny in the first place? Was it for his own good? And if so, why didn't she leave earlier? Hell, where did she even go? I digress. Finally, we get to the very last scene of the movie. After a major time skip to 1952, Manny has a wife and kid, and as I said previously, we figure out that Nellie's still alive. They both get tickets to the iconic 1952 film, Singing in the Rain. But when Manny sat in the theater, he got overwhelmed with emotion, thinking back to his times working in the show business. This is kinda ironic because one of the major messages throughout the story is how movies are a way to escape from reality, to allow yourself to get lost in the story, but for Manny, it's exactly the opposite. It's something that drags him back initially, to the point where he can't even help but cry in his hands, until he hears the beginning of this iconic song.
Just singing in the rain, what a glorious feeling.
He begins to slowly raise his head until his entire face is visible to the camera. At first, he stares at it blankly with tears running down his cheeks, but then he slowly starts to smile. Because at the end of the day, movies exist to allow us, the audience, to escape, to relate, to laugh, to cry, to love, to feel something, anything. And I think Manny can appreciate that not only as an audience member, but also someone who's worked in the business as well. He can smile at the work he has left behind for others. This is why films exist. It's something that lives on forever. Another message that was said throughout this movie when Eleanor talked to Jack, saying, "In 100 years when we're both long gone, you will live on, dining with the dead ghost and angels." Dead ghost referring to the other actors and actresses in the same film as Jack, who would also be long dead, and angels obviously referring to the afterlife. The film concludes with a montage of a few dozen movies stretching over 100 years, from classics like Frankenstein and the Wizard of Oz to more modern films like The Terminator and the original Avatar. It showed us all these movies that push the boundaries, push the limits, and will forever defy time. The movie finishes off with a jumble of colors and paint, and I'm gonna be honest, I have no fucking clue what it is is or what it means. It damn near gave me a seizure. Someone like me, who always tries to dig up more meaning than there usually is, can't even begin to give you an answer on what the hell just happened. So I'm just gonna leave it up to the interpretation of everyone who's seen the movie. I didn't know if I wanted to make a review on this or not, solely because I'm kind of mixed on it. I have my fair share of criticisms. One of my biggest gripes is that it's entirely too long and the pacing drags on. They could have easily cut out a lot of these scenes. But I really enjoy the ending, even though it's flawed, because it culminates all the messages throughout the entirety of the story and gives a satisfying conclusion. It is a movie that is designed and made to appreciate what movies do for us, while giving a unique perspective of the film industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, consider liking, subscribing, and comment below what I should do next. I'll do movies, games, anime, shows, whatever. But again, thank you for watching.